Will Trump and Ripple save the US dollar? You guys let me know in the comments down below what you think. We're going to be talking about this because I just got this article right here from Watch a Guru with the headline, Donald Trump warns of consequences if BRICS ditches the US dollar. Now, they're referring to some comments that he made, actually more broadly speaking, about anybody who tries to ditch the US dollar. He's going to be imposing a 100% tariff against them. So the direct quote right here, quote, you leave the US dollar and you're not doing business with the United States because we are going to put a 100% tariff on your goods. Now, where does Ripple come in, right? Well, if you recall back at the Bitcoin conference, when everybody was hyped up about, Donald Trump talking at the Bitcoin conference, what did he say? Stable coins were going to be key to expanding US dollar dominance. And we see that Ripple is getting ready in the next coming weeks to launch RLUSD on the XRP ledger and on Ethereum. So where does XRP come in? Well, all of that liquidity is going to be flowing on top of the XRP ledger. Each transaction is going to be burning XRP. So yes, the Ripple stablecoin is bullish for XRP, and is something I think that we need to be really excited about, bringing a legitimate stablecoin to the XRP ledger. Now, I've talked about the unique advantages that Ripple has against Circle and against Tether and against any other stablecoin issuer. I'm not going to get into that in this episode here. I do want to ask you guys, though, because it is debate day. We get to watch Donald Trump, President Trump, against Kamala Harris. And I'm really interested to see how Mrs. Harris performs. Going to be interesting. You guys let me know in the comments down below who is going to win this debate. But when it comes to what can the United States do to actually maintain the reserve currency status, what can we do to save the dollar? Donald Trump has a plan here to, I think, expand US dollar dominance through exploding utility of the stablecoins brought to multiple networks, right? And the ability of folks, you guys are seeing the growth of Tether, and I've talked about this too. The reason why Tether, I think, is allowed to grow and go on about their business, even though they've been proven to be a deceptive and a fraudulent scheme, is because the United States dollar is a deceptive and fraudulent scheme, and they need more folks to push that Ponzi scheme, which is why they're not willing to kill Tether, because Tether's doing the job. Now, it'll be interesting to see who's going to be able to come into compliance, who's going to be able to show reserves when the stablecoin legislation does get passed. Yesterday, we did see that the FIT21 bill did pass in Congress. Now it's going to move on over to the Senate. We'll see if that comes in, and if, Chucky Schumer is able to fulfill his promise of giving crypto regulations passed this year. You guys let me know in the comments down below too. Do you think that crypto gets any mention in the debate tonight? I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to live stream the debate tonight. You guys let me know in the comments down below if you think that I should live stream the debate tonight. Going to be an interesting one to watch. But, once again here, we're watching Trump make real threats of tariffs. And when he was negotiating the trade deals, we did see the United States started to get their way a little bit, right? And it was done through a use of force that wasn't our military. I'm a fan of that. I'm not a fan of us expanding US dollar dominance by our, military presence across the world. I don't think that that's how we should do it. And I don't think that it's sustainable. And the reason why I know it's not sustainable is because we're now spending more on our interest payments on our debt than we are on our military defense spending. So it's not just my opinion. We can see it on the balance sheet. We can see where the payments are going. And the debt servicing of the interest on our debt now has surpassed our defense spending. So, this is the end of the U.S. empire unless we can pull out that Trump card, unless we can pull out that stablecoin card. And you guys are seeing this in Japan. We saw Ripple, we saw Ripple in Asia this last week take over Japan at Web3X, WebX Asia, whatever it was called. And then they went over to Korea. They've launched the new Japan-Korea Fund, and they're expanding over there. And the news that came out this week, following up on Brad Garnhouse's most recent interview, all of the mega banks now in Japan are rushing to start basically issuing yen stablecoins and starting to use cryptocurrency for cross-border payments. And we've already seen, obviously, the corridors are live over there in Japan and Asia. Ripple's been dominating and expanding on-demand liquidity, settling with XRP. Now, you guys let me know in the comments down below. Do you think that, do you think that Ripple is going to launch the Japanese yen stablecoin on the XRP ledger, or do you think that they're going to allow SBI to do so? I thought it was very interesting in that interview with Bloomberg how Brad Garlinghouse mentioned, that there's already banks and institutions filing for licenses in Japan because they've actually passed legislation last year. Now these firms and institutions are going through the licensing process, and then they're going to be launching stablecoins. And then he mentioned the partnership with SBI at that time, which leads me to believe, as I've been speculating now, that, Ripple will allow SBI. They'll say, hey, you can have this stablecoin. We're going to do the US dollar one, because Brad said, we're partnered up with SBI, and right now we're focused on the US dollar stablecoin. Now, I hope for Ripple investors, many of you guys own Ripple stock, right? I hope for the sake of, XRP and our thesis over here, that Ripple does launch the stablecoins themselves for the Japanese yen, for the euro, for other stablecoins. I hope for our sake that Ripple does launch them, but I think that they're in a unique position, and Brad mentioned this, where the big banks are partnering up with the little guy, in this case Ripple, where basically Ripple's setting the template. They got the standard for stablecoins. They have the trust company too. If you need a place to hold the collateral for your stablecoin, they got standard custody and trust, that New York license, absolutely critical. Speaking of standard custody and trust, we did get the update from PolySign and Link2 yesterday. If you guys missed that one, basically PolySign essentially going to zero. PolySign and Atomic Net. Only Class C or Series C investors will have any consideration upon any liquidation and monetization of standard custody, PolySign and Atomic Net. Upon any monetization of those assets and liquidation, only Series C investors will be considered. Link2 investors are not Series C investors, so there will be no consideration, basically meaning that, the equity's basically gone to zero. Really unfortunate. I'm going to be talking about that more in a separate update. But once again, we bring this back to, how do you save the dollar? You got gold. Hopefully we got the gold. Rosie Rio says that we have the gold. The next move, and the big one, is the stable coins. And we should already have this legislation passed. We should already be moving there. But once again, the United States, with that privilege of having the reserve currency status, it's allowed us to be slower than everybody else. We're getting reports now out of the BRICS conference that's going to be coming up on October 22nd through the 24th that they're going to be backing their new currency. The new BRICS unit is going to be backed by 40% gold, and then the rest of it's going to be a basket of BRICS currencies. So it'll be basically similar to what the IMF has with the SDR, special drawing rights currency, where it's a basket of the biggest currencies: the dollar, the pound, the yen, the Chinese yuan, and I think the euro too. The BRICS currency is going to be backed by a similar basket, but it's going to be BRICS countries' currency, and then it's going to be a backing of gold too. That's yet to be seen. We'll see if we even get an announcement. They might be just hyping us up here once again, just like they did last year, and maybe we won't get any sort of serious announcement, that any concrete announcement on what the BRICS currency is going to be. But nonetheless, they're in a move to try to, create a new system that they can trade amongst themselves with, and one that brings some sort of neutrality, a bridge between each other. And obviously XRP is perfectly slated to fulfill that role if they wanted to choose that. In the case of what does the United States have? Hopefully we have some gold, and we have the largest military known to man. That can't be discounted. It's not what I like to see. It's not how I want our military to be used. I love our troops. God bless our troops. But very unfortunate to see us waste trillions of dollars in countries across the world where, what did we get in return? And the damage is done. Absolutely massive. Really unfortunate. But once again, gold, largest military known to man. And then the Trump card here could be allowing stablecoins to thrive, and Trump actually putting, it's not so much, Trump's going to be launching the stablecoin. It's that Trump pushes the narrative. Trump gets to bring Ripple into the offices, the White House, and he gets to say, hey, we brought in the industry leaders here on crypto, and these are the crypto guys. And Trump doesn't need to understand how this tech works, but Trump gets to bring it in. And Trump gets to encourage DC to get together with their DC dance and actually get some legislation passed, so that we can start to expand US dollar dominance through the use of stablecoins. Nobody wants our treasuries anymore. And I'm going to be talking about that more in an upcoming update too, the yield curve. The inversion that we had was the longest yield curve inversion in history. It is uninverted. What does this mean? Well, typically it means that we're heading into a recession. And at the same time, we have on the September 18th date coming up next week, where Trump was supposed to be sentenced. Now his sentencing has been delayed till after the election. But on September 18th, we're going to be watching that Fed decision day very closely. September 18th, 2007 is when the Fed started the rate cut cycle before the Great Financial Crisis. Are we setting ourselves up the same way this time around? It looks like it to me. A lot of data points reflect on that. But I'm going to wrap up this session here. I'm going to be going to interview Marcel, and a guest that we've had, the Butcher of Wall Street is his X handle. He's a good guy, covers markets. He's doing some cool things too. I'm about to go do an interview with him, and that'll be up on the YouTube channel here later today. So make sure you guys have subscribed, hit that notification bell. If you guys appreciate our updates, please make sure that you like this video and let me know what your guys' thoughts are on Trump, Ripple, Circle's obviously playing a part too. Even Tether is playing a part too in expanding US dollar dominance. It's the best way to save the dollar. You back it by gold, you back it by the largest military known to man, and then you start to issue some stable coins and you expand stablecoin issuance by actually passing legislation in the United States. Hope you guys appreciate this update. I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless you all.